Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Most of you know Jesse Coyle. He's a teammate of mine. He's one of the NERO performance coaches. In the last couple of years, he's taken on a bit more responsibility with the team, with some of the selection and the management type of things. And he has also recently started his own YouTube channel. So on the back of that, and really on the back of not being able to ride that much together to be able to nut this stuff out, we thought, okay, we'll write some questions down, we'll have an interview. As we touch on all the YouTube classics like carbs, fueling on the bike. It's a two-way discussion as well. Jesse comes at me with questions about my own riding, my own goals, how the team balance works and all that kind of stuff. Would love to hear your thoughts on this. If you like this kind of concept, I will stop talking, we'll hand it over to our interview and let's go. Okay, Jesse, we're going to get straight into this. There's no fluffing about. We got to trigger the YouTube algorithms as quickly as possible. So we're just going to say the word carbs over and over as many times as possible and see if we can actually get a few views on this.
And no, Zwift, throwing a Zwift there. Zwift seems to just blow up. I don't know what is going on with it.
Tubeless, yeah. Zwift carbs. Boom. There you go. Fueling for the workout required seems to have really taken over. So I know you picked apart a few podcasts and bits and pieces that talked about it. I'll put the links to what you were talking about below. But I kind of want to get your summation of what you think of that concept. Because, like, I'll be honest, reading or thinking about the concept of fueling for the workout, it makes sense to me. So why are you so anti it?
Yeah. I mean, it's good to have this chance of talking about it in a bit more detail, because when I'm trying to explain it in basically a 1-minute clip in one of my videos, it can get lost. So the term is called fuel for the work required, and it sounds simple, but it's actually a scientific term that's been brought up through the scientific literature, and it actually means, it seems simple, as in just fuel the work required, which I agree with, but it's a loaded term, and the loading there is actually part of the concept of fuel for the work required, involves specifically underfueling and doing low carbohydrate sessions. So there's high carbohydrate sessions and then low carbohydrate sessions. And it's those low carbohydrate ones that I disagree with and I don't think are necessary. So that's my general disagreement with the term. It's just for the average rider who's just looking to get fitter and probably also lose a bit of weight, it's just not necessary. And there's a whole range of potential downsides to it. And that's why I don't recommend it. You're looking for this small little gain and potentially taking on a lot of risks and a lot of downsides. And you just don't need to. I mean, who wants to ride around on their rides not eating carbs? Like, you just don't need to do it. And that's my kind of point, is you don't need to. People get a bit confused because they're like, well, I'm trying to lose weight. So if I'm not doing that hard of a ride, I just won't eat carbs. I'll do a low carb ride. For a lot of people probably watching this video, you just want to go for a ride, and it doesn't matter if you feel you're buggered by the end of it, because that's part of, for a lot of people, that's just part of the process. You get to the end and you're completely shagged, and then you go and eat a pizza for dinner. But that's what I would sort of argue. If you look at it more holistically, there would still be a benefit. Even for that person, there is still a benefit from fueling your rides more. You probably don't get to have that massive pizza after the ride, or you do have to manage what you're eating off the bike. But in terms of your actual riding, there's a big benefit. Firstly, your rides are more enjoyable because you're not hungry or hitting the wall, and the quality of the ride's better. So
I've been really hesitant recently to talk anything about nutrition on the channel for reasons that I've discussed in the past on here, because obviously one of the reasons is we're all very different, blah, blah, blah. But like, the question that I continue to get is this concept around calories. And this feeds into the fueling on the ride thing. Like, this broad concept of, like, what is your calorie intake? It is easily the biggest question I get asked. What is your calorie intake per day, right? What the calories that I take in on the bike, how does that fit into my overall intake?
Before I get into it, I don't count calories. I don't think most people need to. There's some potential benefit in terms of getting a better idea of the food you're eating, but I would this is not me saying that you should measure your calories and this is the way to do it. So just putting that out there. But I guess there's a few things there. The first is the idea that I think, and this gets lost on people. To me, I actually didn't realize people had this question because I thought this was, I thought it was quite simple, but people don't seem to get it, is that when you're measuring calories, you need to measure your total, it's super basic, total energy expenditure for the day in terms of calories. Now that includes your basal metabolic rate. What would you be burning if you were laying still doing nothing? But then you have to add in your rides. And I think that's where people get lost. They sort of go, well, I usually eat about 2,000 calories a day. I will just kind of forget I did a ride and I'll just try and hit my goal. So
I was going to jump in. Okay, so can I throw one case study at you that comes into my head all the time, right? So I finish a ride. Strava tells me I burnt, it was a pretty chilled ride. Went for Jesse de La Perouse, 1,500 calories. Or 1,500 calories, okay? So why can't I only drink water on the ride and then when I get home, I can have a pizza, right? Because it's 1,500 calories. It's free calories. I just burnt 1,500 free calories. Why do I have to listen to these two idiots tell me I'm going to put like some drink mix in my bottles and there goes 800 calories and now I can only have like, I don't know, like salad when I get home. This sounds like a stitch up.
Yeah, I get it. And I totally get it. You're kind of like, well, I might just eat a bit less on the bike. I'll get home and then I get to just eat whatever I want the rest of the day. But when you're eating food when you're riding, the way your body processes it and uptakes it is completely different. So you're drinking your mix on your ride. You're just drinking sugar water. The way that the body processes it when you're exercising is totally different and makes it, that's the other thing is, it comes into that idea of people are like, oh, that's a bit weird just drinking like essentially sugar water or sports drink. Like that's not that healthy, is it? Because it's all like sugar and carbs and stuff. But the way your body absorbs it when you're exercising is totally different. And it goes pretty complex, but basically is more likely to be uptaken by your muscles and used or stored as glycogen. Whereas if you're doing it at night, just eating a burger or something, it's completely different. So
let's say I just go out and ride my bike for 2 hours, slop around, little 5K Chris Miller loop that I'm doing at the moment. Okay, that's I get home and I'm a bit like, oh, a bit hard. How does that compare to sprint sessions or but then I know that if I go do some threshold efforts, that's a hard day. Like I kind of know that.
Yeah, it's that borderline, right? It's probably that hour and a half to 3 hours, 100, if we go TSS, it's 120 to 200, where you can it's that borderline as well, where you can probably just get through maybe with a muesli bar and not completely hit the wall. That's what we're sort of talking about, I think. And Again, it's the holistic thing. It's if you do fuel the ride better, does that make you less hungry throughout the rest of the day? Does it give you more energy throughout the rest of the day? Does it make your legs feel better the next day if you do happen to be going for another ride? It's all that where there's so much benefit from fueling your ride, even if you don't feel like you need to. And if we go back to this fuel for the work required, you could, they would probably argue, well, you're not doing that much work, so you don't need to fuel it. But I would say, and by fueling, I'm talking about carbohydrates, just to clarify. There are benefits. That's the benefits there.
I do want to ask you one question just about the specifics of on-bike stuff. Now, you and I have used all types of different things over the last few years, including you just running sugar for large portions of it. But recently we got an opportunity to do a custom blend using the Infinite Nutrition stuff. Obviously, I'll put all these links below.
Couple of things. Especially my riders would always come to me and say, what should I use? Or I'm on a ride, they're just doing training rides and they're using Beta Fuel, Morton, which is good. They're good products. Not saying they're not good products, but they're expensive. And I would always struggle to have a suggestion because I want products that are just as effective, but just telling my riders just to go and drink sugar water, I totally understand people don't want to do that. So I am very hesitant about suggesting it because it's just a bit wacky. Infinite, Australian company, and they do they have this, we sort of had a look at them. We had a chat with the Australian distributor, owner of it, had a good chat to him about how it works, but they do custom blends. So basically what he said to us was he allowed us to basically mimic the profile of a beta fuel or a Morton. And then we got the custom blend. So it's got the same carb profile in terms of the correct ratio of 1 to 0.8 glucose to fructose. Then the two as well, if you've watched the video I did on the sugar, the two things that were good about beta fuel and Morton, not too flavorful. And these blended products, there's a slider when you're doing your custom blend, which allows you to adjust the flavor. Now, I prefer a sweeter flavor, so I put one of, I would move that further up. A lot of these products have lower levels of electrolytes because it allows you to add in the amount of electrolytes you need. I said you could do that in the bottle, so you might use your beta fuel. If you're a salty sweater, put in your own electrolytes. You can skip that step with Infinite because when you're ordering the product, you choose the amount of electrolytes you want.
It was interesting in the chat with Jay how he was talking about that they were rolling out of the stage essentially with enough fuel for the entire stage in their back pockets. Now they were basing that primarily on gels. So I was going to ask you just a little bit just about gels while I had you.
Just with the gels, especially like for someone like if they're trying to do 80 grams of carbs an hour with gels, you'd want one that has some fructose in it. That's the biggest thing. So the SAS gels, for example, are only maltodextrin. Other gels that have a better mix, like the performance gels that we used last year, good mix of carbs, so some fructose in there. So it's just something to be aware of. If you're relying solely on your gels, make sure that they've got that carb mix.
Look, I think it's probably only fair if I've got you over here on the channel that you get to hit me out with a few questions. I don't just get to be the interviewer. So what do you got for me, Jesse? Anything interesting?
I've asked you this off the bike, but I think it's an interesting chat to have. So, you've been running the NERO team for what is it, 4 or 5 years now, and you're getting a bit older. Let's not lie, but like how, in terms of balancing running the team and then your own cycling goals, what's the plan for next year, for 2022? Because this year was obviously a bit of a dud with the C word and stuff.
It's funny. Well, like Jay asked me this question as well when I did the ride with him down in Canberra, and he's like, why don't you just rack it? Like, why don't you just retire? And I'm like, are you mad? Like, I'm going to be that crusty old guy, like racing a state actually probably won't be racing a state handicap. But as pure sort of motivation goes to race my bike, it's higher than ever. And obviously the level to which I can do that is going to change over the next year, 5 years, 10 years. I get that. This actually almost comes down to like the reason of why I actually started the team, which was bike racing. Like, I like to ride my bike. Riding bike's fine, but at the end of the day, I so much more prefer just racing my bike, getting my ass handed to me, like getting smashed. Like, that's to me what we throw a leg over these bikes to do. So I suppose you're asking me for like, what's my goals? Like, I'm going to win nationals, blah, blah, blah. Club wise, I'd like to get back and win a West Head. That'd be nice, actually. I didn't even do a West Head last year. So that'd be a little change for me. Get up early and head up there.
Yeah. Training wise about as well, like, because you've been like with those goals, are you going to adjust your training? Like, what's the approach from that respect? Is it just do what you know has worked for you in the past couple of years, or?
I am really interested. I am really, really interested to see what my own fitness is going to be like having removed for 12 weeks all the middle of the road endurance riding that I used to do. Like just hours and hours and hours of middle of the road, kind of hard, but not that easy endurance rides, and having not done any of them.
Just, yeah, because your rides, I guess most of your rides in the past 3 months have been pretty much 2 hours or less, and more on the trainer, right? You've been doing all those full gas rides. Yeah, I got one. I find it fascinating as well because obviously your channel's growing. You got a big channel, and brands want to associate themselves with you, and you want to partner with the brands. But you also run the team, and then there's the team side of things. So in terms of when brands or businesses get in touch with you and want to work with you and NERO, how does it work in terms of, do they want to work with you? Do they want to support the team? How does that dynamic play out in terms of, partnerships?
That's a good question, actually. So the easy answer is no one is interested in sponsoring a bike team. The initial contact is definitely made as, oh, Chris, brand ambassador-y type thing, etc., etc. How to move that into a team space, which is basically how I go back to anyone who wants to talk about being involved. You're trying to be involved with the team. And I think some of this comes back to you as well, Jesse, in that we try and sell the concept of, well, the team. So with Chris, you get one brand ambassador, but with the team, you get a minimum of 12. I think this is a subject we can talk about if this sort of style of thing works, about selection, because selection on this team is, based on performances, race wins. It's a continental elite level bike racing team. We keep it very small. And we interview people like this to get them on the team. And one of the reasons to do that is when we're going to brands and we're saying, we've got 12 ambassadors, we need to know that those 12 ambassadors are legitimately good at talking and being an ambassador for the brand. So the vlog and the team, I've kind of gone through this sort of fluctuating relationship with it, where the vlog and the team started as literally the same entity, because one of the main concepts of the vlog was to show people what it was really like to actually start a bike racing team. And then it kind of got a bit convoluted and it got real sort of home vloggy. And so I was like, just to try and maybe move that away from the team. And so I've sort of pushed back on really brands being aligned with the vlog. But at this point, I'm just embracing it, because I kind of think it's all the same thing.
It would be easier just to say, yeah, cool, I'll partner with you, and you just do that. It takes a lot more work to get the team, to get them to see value in the team and to get the guys to get on board with that. So,
but see, hopefully there's more longevity in that, because you probably think that it's some sort of selfless act now, but it's not. It's the idea is that there's more longevity in it, because be great to just be getting Chris Miller gets free bikes every 3 weeks, and that sort of stuff will go away if you stop churning content out and doing sort of all that. Whereas if you can get people to buy into what we're trying to do with NERO, which you're a massive part of, which is create this totally different way of looking at bike racing, not a boys club setup, massive benefactor who just throws you cash, though we are more than happy to take those sort of things. But get people to buy into that, then it can kind of take off on itself. And
I find it I just find it fascinating, having especially been around in the NRS scene for a while and the continental scene and stuff. You just interesting seeing a different take on it.
Tell me about the YouTube channel. Why'd you start a YouTube channel? You trying to creep in on me? What's going on here? Talk me through it.
So, look, honestly, one of the main reasons was just to promote myself as a coach, to get exposure for the coaching I do. It's difficult to differentiate yourself, and not only to differentiate yourself, but to show people that there's a lot of sports science and cycling and training. There's a lot of stuff out there and stuff to learn. And people probably don't know. They think, you just get on the bike and you just go for a ride. But there's so much information out there and things to learn. So that was part of the other reasons. Not only exposure, but just getting people to learn. There's a lot of different things you can tweak with your training and nutrition and stuff. So, and I've watched a lot of YouTube videos and people on YouTube and stuff, and I thought I could make these. I've got good knowledge. I've got experience, years in the scene. So trying to contribute to that.
All good. Well, hopefully, I think this worked. What do you reckon?
Hopefully,
That's
like when the people have questions, and then the next time we record something, we can be answering people's questions and not just answering our own questions we have from each other. So if people have stuff,
we could try YouTube Live.
Oh, we saw how that went. Insert clips from 3
that was
years ago.
legitimately almost the end of the channel.
Oh, that was I wasn't on the team.
All right,
then.
JC, do you want to just give your channel a quick plug before we go?
Yeah, well, there's not much. Just search Jesse Coyle in the YouTube search box and have a flick through. I started about a month ago, but I've done a video a day, so there's heaps of stuff to get into, lots of different topics covered. So yeah, have a look. Leave comments on the videos that you like and want more of, and I'll keep pumping them out.
So we really hope you enjoyed that, guys. We've really enjoyed doing it, so would love to hear your feedback on it. Would love to also know what kind of questions do you want us to cover in the future. If you enjoyed it, what kind of questions do you want answers to? We will sit down, we'll talk them through, very much a conversational style thing. Finally, guys, keep the EOIs coming in for the team. We're going to close that at the end of the month. We've really been blown away again by the feedback and the interest in the team. We will make sure we get back to everyone individually in the coming weeks. Thanks again so much for watching, guys. See you soon.
The pain inside, don't wanna feel it. So I pour up inside my cup and I just sip till I can't feel it. I know it won't solve my problem, but I know it makes a difference.